Hello, class. It's Mrs. Pinkney, and this is Bible class for Friday, March 27th. And today we're going to be doing um, Bible lesson 20.1. We're still talking about Esther, and Esther is unselfish, is what we're going to be talking about today. So you can look at page 77 as I go over the lesson. First of all, we're going to start off with memory verse 2.4. I'm sorry, Philippians 2 and 4. Chapter 2, verse 4, Philippians. Okay. Chapter 2, okay. And it reads, "Let each of you look not only to his own interest, but also to the interests of others." So, what this verse is saying is that we shouldn't just think about ourselves and be selfish. We should think about others. Okay, so selfish people need to think only self, selfish people think only of themselves and ignore the feelings or needs of others. When someone is unselfish or shows selflessness, it means showing concern for others more than oneself. We learned another word that means the same thing, and that's humility, being concerned for someone else more than you are yourself. So, an unselfish person thinks about the needs of others more than his or her own needs. So, we always think about others when we're unselfish. Okay, now what I want you to do, this is a little exercise that you can do all by yourself while we're having this class. So, I want each of you to, when you hear the words Esther, King Ahasuerus, Haman, and Mordecai, we're going to read about these people in the Bible truth, and you're going to make the following motions when you hear the name of the person that is represented. Esther risked her life. Okay, so I want you to make a motion like you're placing a crown on your head each time you hear the word as the name Esther. And you're going to hold an imaginary scepter high each time you hear king. Like this. And you're going to shake your fist when you hear Haman. And you're going to clasp your hands when you hear Mordecai. Okay? Got it? All right. Remember, Haman was a very proud and selfish person. He liked being powerful and making people bow down before him. He thought only of himself and not about the welfare of the Jews. He asked the king to write a law that would kill all the Jewish people for not obeying the customs and laws of the king. Pretty mean, huh? He had no idea that Queen Esther, remember, that Queen Esther was Jewish because he had kept it secret. The king gave Haman his signet ring to stamp the wax so that the law could not be changed. So he gave him a ring, and then so he could stamp in this wax and make this little imprint. So when Esther heard about Haman's evil plan, she wanted to help the Jews. But the king had not asked to see her for a whole month. She knew that if she went to the king without an invitation, he would have her killed. Fear or selfishness could have kept Esther from acting on behalf of her people, but Esther showed resolve. We're going to talk about resolve. Resolve means a determination to do or not do something. So resolve is just like you making up your mind. I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. She trusted Mordecai's advice to act and not miss out on the privilege to do what God wanted her to do. He reminded her that she too would die if she did nothing. She resolved, remember the word resolved, made up her mind to be courageous and unselfish, risking her own life to help her people. Through Esther, God delivered his people from certain death. You can choose to be selfish like Haman or unselfish like Esther. And let's read Philippians 2, verse 3 and 4. Let's read that together. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. So we want to think about others. A child of God can live unselfishly, valuing others above himself or herself. The same thing as humility. So you want to show resolve to be unselfish at all times. Unselfish at all times. Never selfish. John 3:16. We all know what John 3:16 says. Jesus showed the greatest unselfishness by putting his need by putting their wait a minute. Jesus showed the greatest unselfishness by putting their need for a savior ahead of himself and giving his life for them and for us. So I want you to think of some unselfish ways to solve these problems. At a class party, one of the cupcakes falls on the floor. Now, there are not enough cupcakes for everyone. What can be done? Think about how you could be unselfish. On a special day at school, students are invited to honor their grandparents. Some students do not have any grandparents, and they feel embarrassed and sad. What can be done? Okay, you're going to complete page 77 independently. We won't do it on this lesson. So let's do a little review. How was Haman proud and selfish? Well, Haman liked that people bowed down to him and praised him. So what would have happened if Esther had been courageous or had chosen to be selfish? The Jewish people would have died. God would have chosen someone else to save his people. So what does it mean to be unselfish? Okay, we know. Showing concern for others more than oneself. So why did Esther choose to be unselfish? She placed her security in God. She cared more about others than herself. And what does it mean to show resolve? Remember, we just read that word resolve. It means to have a determination to do or not do something. It just simply means to make up your mind that you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. So, what do you learn when you compare the way Haman acted with the way Esther acted? Haman's selfishness caused trouble and hardship, and Esther's resolve and unselfishness helped others. Why do you think others would learn from the way you act? It's your own idea. So, what is an unselfish thing someone has done for you? Think about it. Name some things you can do to show selflessness toward others. Those are things that you can think about. And so, complete page 77. And that concludes lesson 20.1 for Friday, March 27th. All right.